Thank you for tuning in to In the Office with me, Miss G, and my co-host Tenna Harris, right here on Empower Sundays on ventradio.net. Now come on and step into the office. And great Sunday morning to everybody. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing well. Hello and welcome to In the Office with G. We are alive and we are so grateful to God for everything that is going on in our lives today. I'm getting my little feedback here. We just want to say it's a great Sunday morning. It's a great Sunday morning. It's sunny and we're happy to be here today. I know I'm kind of off my mark today, but okay. I told a story. I said I was going to be on time, but I promise you from this day forward, we're going to be on time. We're trying to hook up with our third Sunday guest, Latondra Marcy. And we're going to have a good conversation today. But we right now just want to say good morning to our co-host, Tenna Harris. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. I am wonderful. We have our beautiful engineer. She's sitting over there. She's trying to figure things out right now. So, she's pondering what to do.
Pondering. That sounds like a Edgar Van word.
Word. Is that one of Bishop's words?
He likes pondering and perusing.
Oh, perusing. Okay. All right. Well, we're pondering and perusing too, I guess. But we just want to be grateful to God. This has been a very snowy week with all of our snow, but we live in Michigan and it's just February. I was talking to my daughter yesterday. I said, I can't wait for spring. She said, Mom, we just got in the winter. So you might as well just wait. So we are waiting. And it's just a wonder. And I'm so happy to have my ladies here with us. We had Super Bowl Sunday yesterday, even though my team did not win.
Yesterday we had Super Bowl?
The other Sunday. Last Sunday.
Oh, I thought maybe it was
I'm still holding on to it. But
didn't you enjoy halftime?
Halftime was phenomenal.
Woo-hoo.
Halftime was truly, truly phenomenal.
And can I be honest?
Go ahead.
You wanted Dr. Dre's jacket.
I did.
I wanted Dr. Dre.
Oh.
I said, you can have the jacket. Can I just have Dr. Dre?
I want Dr. Dre's jacket. So I don't know what kind of jacket that was he had on, but I sure did love it. The whole outfit was put together real nice. But the whole Super Bowl halftime, Super Bowl was really good. But I have Evangelist Jackie Johnson on my YouTube page talking about something. Yes.
I know. I was like.
But the whole halftime, so the whole game was just phenomenal.
It was from start to finish.
From start to finish.
Mary's.
Lift every voice and sing.
Oh my God.
And I was so impressed that if you noticed, all of them had some kind of black descendant. I know some of them say, well, no, I forget who sung the Star Spangled Banner, but she had some black in her or something. But it was absolutely a phenomenal day. Then come
Black excellence is what I call it.
Black excellence.
All through that whole thing.
Yes, through the whole thing. And Jackie, please. But it was absolutely phenomenal last week.
Jackie is agreeing with me.
Yes, Jackie is agreeing with Jackie. Says it was absolutely amazing. The whole thing was absolutely amazing, and it was. And I had just started getting into football really. And I was rooting for the Bengals. I really was. I thought they had it at that one point, but, I'm glad on Tuesday. I'm sad that the Bengals lost, but I'm glad for Stanford. That this is his first season. He got a ring and all that good stuff, and he going to Disney World. So we're just so happy that it was a wonderful day. And then here come the snow. And The snow was amazing. I actually spent the night at my job, and to look out the window and just actually see how the wind was blowing and the snow was falling. And it always, I mean, snow falls in Michigan every winter, but it's always amazing to me to see how the Lord works when it comes to the weather. My sister said the Lord makes a liar out of the meteorologist every single time, because we don't know what the Lord's going to do, you know, and we have to, as Christians, we know this. We know how the Lord works. He works in mysterious ways, and he works in his own time. So we just thank God for allowing us to be here and to make it through all of this snow. So while we're waiting on LaTondra to get connected,
You can ask her to call in on Skype.
On Skype?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will do that. I think she said she was waiting anyway, but we're going to go ahead and start our daily bread. And so we can get that going. Excuse me while I do that, and that is done. And we're going to do our daily bread for today. It's coming from Romans, the 15th chapter, the 23rd through the 33rd verse. And today's lesson is entitled The Purple Shawl. And it starts as follows. I urge you to join me in my struggle by praying to God for me. Romans, the 15th chapter, the 30th verse. Okay, we got music behind that. And it says, while serving as my mom's living caregiver at a cancer center, hundreds of miles away from my home, I asked people to pray for us. As the months passed, isolation and loneliness sapped my strength. How could I care for my mom how could I care for my mom if I gave in to my physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion? One day, a friend sent me an unexpected care package. Jody had crocheted a purple prayer shawl, a warm reminder that we had people praying for us daily. Whenever I wrapped the soft yarn around my shoulders, I felt God hugging me with the prayers of his people. Years later, he still uses that purple shawl to comfort me and strengthen my resolve. The Apostle Paul affirmed the importance and spirit-refreshing power of praying for others. Though his passion request was prayerful support and encouragement during his travels, Paul demonstrated how those who prayed for others become partners in ministry. Offering specific requests, the apostle not only showed his dependence on the support of the fellow believers, but his trust that God powerfully answers prayer. We're all experience days when we feel alone, but Paul shows us how to ask for prayer as we pray for others. When we're wrapped in the intercessory prayer of God's people, we can experience God's strength and comfort no matter where life takes us. Who has God used to encourage you through intercessory prayer? Who can you pray for today? Loving God, thank you for the gift of intercessory prayers and for assuring me that you hear me and care for me wherever I go. Intercessory prayer, prayer is a powerful thing. And sometimes we don't understand. At least I don't. Let me say that. Sometimes we don't understand exactly how powerful prayer is. If we pray and ask God with faith and we actually understand what we're praying for, then we'll get that prayer through to God. Sometimes we feel like God doesn't hear our prayer. Sometimes we feel like God doesn't answer our prayer. But if you have faith, God will answer. And sometimes the answer is not what we actually think it should be. We pray and want God to answer the prayer the way we want God to answer the prayer, because all we doing is praying for affirmation. Lord, I'm praying this prayer because I want $1 million. Thank you, Jesus, and I want it by tomorrow. Okay. But if you're not a good steward on even $1, how you figure God gonna give you $1 million? But in our lesson today, our writer was saying that she was her mom's living caregiver at a cancer center, and she asked people to pray for them. She said isolation and loneliness sapped her strength. And sometimes isolation and loneliness will take a toll on us. We can be in a mood. We can be in a situation, not a mood. We can be in a situation, and it just seems like as we pray, we get tired. And sometimes we get lonely. Sometimes we feel like there's nobody else in the world that actually cares for us. And we feel like we're praying or we're in this situation all alone. And this is how our writer was talking about how she became physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. Remember when Jesus was in the garden, just before he was about to get crucified? And he was there and he just told his disciples, can you just stay right here while I go over there and pray? Y'all pray over here, but I'm about to go over there and pray because I got to have a real personal talk with my daddy. And the Bible says he prayed hard till sweat, like blood drops, started coming. Have you ever prayed so hard where you just started sweating and perspiring and just weeping, that you feel like, Lord, do you hear me? Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm talking, I'm crying, I'm screaming, but Lord, I need you. Until you just get so emotionally and physically drained. Sometimes you can pray until you just feel like you're getting sick to your stomach because you don't feel like God is hearing you. God hears every word. All three of us, the whole Detroit can start praying at one time. And guess what? God hears every one of our prayers. He don't say, hold on, G over here praying. No, hold on, here go Tim. No, hold on, here go April. I got. No, God hears us all. And he hears us collectively. And he hears us individually. So when our writer in our lesson today was saying that she was praying so that she got emotionally exhausted. Sometimes you just want to quit. God, you don't hear me. I'm doing this for nothing. I'm just okay. I just stop. I just leave it alone. But God hears our prayers. God know what we need before we even get on our knees to say, Lord, help me. He's the one he allows, it always is God's will. And I got to say that it's always God's will. He knows exactly what we're going through. When I thought I had like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 tragedies. I call them tragedies in my life. And I prayed and I didn't think God heard me. When I had gotten COVID and was in that hospital room all by myself, and the doctor had just came in that evening and said, well, Miss Granberry, if your oxygen level don't come up, we're going to vent you tomorrow. And I just couldn't do it. I didn't want to do it. And I cried to God that night. I tell everybody, I think everybody on that floor actually heard me wailing because I didn't want to be vented. I didn't know if God was hearing me or not, because it felt like it was the loneliest thing in the world to be in that room and crying out to God. But God heard my prayer. Not just that prayer, God has heard many prayers. And where I didn't think God even heard me. And just like Sister Gates is saying, he hears our cries. God cares. We don't even have to open our mouths sometimes. We just lay our head in our pillow and just bury our face in the pillow and just start crying. And sometimes the words just don't come out. But God sees our tears. God knows what our tears are all about. And that's the one thing I love about God.
In Psalms 56 and 8, it says that you have collected all of my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one of them in your book. So not only do he sees your tears, he collects them. So that's just how powerful he is.
And that's how we as Christians should know that God is always there.
And think how many tears you have shed.
Mm-hmm. And he collected them.
And God, they're so precious to him that God collects them. I mean, that always has amazed me. That always has amazed me that God is so concerned about me, that he has collected all of my tears. And my grandfather used to say, if you're going to cry over something or someone, you better make sure it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Because God deems your tears as precious. And I remember when I was little, I would cry about something, and my grandfather would say, was it worth it? Did they earn it? Did they deserve it? And at first I thought that, okay, he being a little insensitive. But no, he wasn't. He was trying to let me know that my tears were so precious to God that I have to deem them as precious also. That if I'm going to cry over someone or cry over something, that it needs to be of value. It needs to be of worth, because my tears are just that precious to God, that they're priceless.
Another key factor to remember is that when we're thinking that he's not hearing us or not seeing us or not hearing our prayers, is just understanding that his timing and it's not our timing. So just because we think he should be answering us at the moment that we're crying or the moment our tears are shedded, doesn't mean that's not how God operates. He don't move because we deem that it need to be moved at this moment.
Because he's like our father. My dad was. My dad was always, because I was a daddy's girl. My dad was always concerned about my tears and my emotions. Now, my mom, she was of a different character. My mom wasn't concerned about emotions to that level. I could cry all I wanted. My mom was not going to just do what I needed for her to do or what I wanted her to do because there was tears. It had to be a meaning. It had to be something in order for her to jump, over troops and stuff because I'm in tears. And I think God is the same way. He's concerned about our emotions, but he's more concerned about where we are in him. To me, that's the main concern. Where are you at in me? I'm more concerned about that. The emotions we'll deal with. I believe God says the emotions I'll deal with, because I'm able to heal. I'm able to deliver. I'm able to set free.
Right. And that's why I don't take prayer for granted. I don't um I think I think prayer, well, you know, when you have children, and anybody that has children knows that children can pull at your heartstrings,
Oh, yes.
you know. And when they start crying, you know, if all our children were still small and all of them start crying at one time, Tenna will know what child is hers. You'll know that, you know, what child is yours, because
Diana gonna cut up.
well, you know, the thing is, you know your child's cry,
Yes. Yes.
and God knows each one of His children's cry,
Yes.
and
Isn't that awesome?
that's awesome. He knows exactly His child's cry. He knows my cry.
That is
You
just
know.
so awesome to me that he can say, "Oh, that's your noise," and he can say, "Wait a minute, that's my daughter Tenna.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, that's baby G."
Right. He knows our cries.
And
He hears us.
And he even knows whether it's of emergency.
Right.
Wait a minute, that's April, but she can handle it. I'm gonna let her cry because she just needs to get tough
Right.
skin, and she gonna handle this. When he'll say, "Well, wait a minute,"
We hear you, Latanja. Hold on.
he like, "Wait a minute, wait, I got to come to Tenna's rescue."
Right.
April's can wait because April need to do some things.
Right.
She crying because she being disobedient.
Right.
She need to do something. So I need to let her cry
Right.
because I'm not no puppet to her.
Right.
I'm not no genie to her. So she need to understand. She need to do the work.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna let April cry. But wait a minute, hold on. Tenna now. I need to come to her rescue.
Right.
Because her cry is a different
It's
cry.
a different cry. You know, and that's the thing. The thing of prayer. You know, we used to sing that hymn, "I love the Lord, He heard my cry." I used to not like hymns like that.
Oh my God.
But He hears our cries. He does. Them hymns scared me to death. You know, this is this is our third Sunday, and we have Latanja Marcy on the phone. I am so Latanja.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. we're having some technical difficulties over here, and we are so sorry. I hope that everybody I know you have a whole slew of folks that was looking for you today. I hope they all tune into Glenn Cannon YouTube. So
Well, I did. I actually did give those directions. I haven't received any more texts, so I am under the impression that things worked out.
Okay. All right. Well, we're so happy to have Latanja on today. We were just talking about prayer. We did our daily bread, and prayer is our topic today. And the thing about it, man, we're going to turn it over to Latanja because she has an interesting subject today. At the end of the daily bread, it says, "Who can you pray for today?" And right now, I can pray for anybody and anybody and anybody and everybody. Prayer is a life changer. And we just want everybody to continue to pray and keep us in prayer and everybody else in prayer that you know. So, but today, Latanja is on because her topic today, Latanja, what is your topic? How you doing today? Let me ask you that first.
How are you?
I'm doing I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing absolutely wonderful. I see that King Kobe had a birthday. And
he did. And then yesterday was National Boston Terrier Day, and today, of course, is National Pet Day. So he getting all the love today that he has coming to him. I actually had to lock him out of my room because he was snoring. So he's definitely been up since about 5:30 this morning. So he's not joining us today.
Okay, but it's been Boston Terrier Day since the day you brought him home. So
Yeah.
he's just
Touche.
yeah. Okay. But today, tell us what you're going to discuss. What we're discussing today.
So today's discussion is very touchy, but that's why we call it the crucial conversations, because it's things that actually need to be said. And it's, are you setting your children up for failure or success? And I say that because I'm seeing a lot of our youth today struggling with the things that we should be able to give them, but we can't because at some point they've been failed. I had this conversation with my nephew the other day, who happens to be 18, and the conversations that I have with him are preparing him for tomorrow, preparing him for his future. And yes, his parents are still around, but I always like to keep in mind that just because you are a parent does not necessarily mean that you can expose your child to the things that they need. And I say that because if you grow up in a household where financial literacy and nurturing and being prepared and being accountable is not in your household, you can't definitely expect for someone to actually have that as a part of their daily life. And so as an aunt, as a mentor, I definitely try to make sure that he has what he needs. And so I have compiled a list of what I'd like to think of as the do's and don'ts when it comes to having children, and the things that you do that to set them up for success, and the things that you shouldn't do that sets them up for failure. And so I want to talk a little bit about the don't first. Let's stop putting utilities in your children's name when they are born. So be accountable as an adult. So you definitely are heading in the wrong direction. Before your child is even able to get their own anything, you didn't mess up their social security number to where they can't even get utilities put in their own name when they grow up. Yes, it still happens. Trust me, it does. And it's very sad. Stop compensating for absentee parents. So I find that a lot of parents will try to overcompensate because there's a parent missing out of the home. That's not something that you can do. You're only one person. Although they say, you can be mom and dad, that definitely is not true. Because you can only have, as a woman, you can only be mom, or you can try to do fatherly things, but, you can't necessarily do all the things that a man could do. So stop trying to overcompensate for a parent missing out of the household. Stop swearing at your kids. So let's not call our kids out their name. That doesn't help build their self-esteem, actually tears them down. And as they grow older, they begin to think that those things are normal unless someone says, hey, don't let nobody call you a B. Don't let nobody, even if you are fat, it don't matter. Stop calling your kids out their name. That's not a good part of parenting. That sets your child up for failure because that's teaching them that name calling is normal. And then they'll do it to their children. So we want to try to break these generational curses by not doing the things that are not positive or setting positive examples in our kids' lives. Stop bringing men or women into your child's life that you've only dated for less than a year. So when your children see different men and women coming out of your life, they don't see stability. So, of course, they, in turn, they tend to follow the suit of the things that they see. So everything is learned behavior. So what you see is ideally what you end up doing in some way, shape, or form as you get older, and not necessarily realize that you saw this growing up, and by that time, you had a whole bunch of women or a whole bunch of men. So we definitely don't want to set that standard for our young men and women. stop using these children to get back at their parents. You know, I think that it's sad when a mother tries to keep their son or daughter away from their father because they ill feelings. You're using a child as a pawn, and children need their parents in their lives. Unless that parent is doing something the way you don't want your child to be surrounded by. Everything about having a parent in their life doesn't necessarily have to do with financial. You know, you didn't pay your child support. You're not seeing your son or you're not seeing your daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please stop doing this because that sets your child up for failure.
And you know what,
I'm trying to
LaTonya,
be,
let me just say this. You know, the things that you're running down on your list there are so valid. You know, I remember looking at the movie Mommy Dearest.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, and
wire hanger.
Yeah, the wire hanger, but Faye Dunaway was playing, what was the actress name? But anyway, she had so many men coming through her mansion that her daughter Christina said, well, Mommy, what do I call him? And so she had her daughter calling all of the men that came through, Uncle, Uncle. So when she finally married the man that was the owner of Pepsi Cola, which her daughter had never met. She had sent her daughter off to school. And when the daughter came home, and so she asked her mother, well, Mommy, what do I call him? She said, call him Daddy. But she had so many men running through. She was, you know, so famous and everything. She had so many men running through her home that she just had her children calling every man Uncle, Uncle Bill, Uncle Bob, Uncle Tom, you know. And then when she finally got married, it confused her.
Yes, okay. Absolutely.
You know, well, what do I call him? And she said, oh, you can call him Daddy because he married, me and him married. And go ahead, you got something to say?
No, I was going to say that's true, not just in, you know, it's highly important when your children are younger to not let them see that type of atmosphere. But even as an adult, even as your children being adults, it affects how they look at what mom's doing, you know, and it really, truthfully, you know, I talk to my adult children all the time. They don't want to see that you just in and out, you got this person, that person. Even as adults, they like, wait a minute, Mama, this ain't who you are now. We never saw this. Where this coming from, you know? So you still have to govern yourself accordingly. I know we grown and I know we want to do that grown thing, but especially if you have daughters and young men growing up, both, I won't just say it's important to the daughters. It's important to the sons too, to see that Mama's not being manipulated or Daddy's not being manipulated, you know, by or being the manipulator by constantly going through this relationship and that relationship. So I do like when you mentioned you haven't dated a person longer than a year. Some things just need to be kept quiet. Be peaceful, keep it quiet. You know, April uses a statement, stay on the slow bus, you know, because everything don't need to be told right away.
Right.
They just don't. As their kids are adults or children, especially children. But even as adults, you need to just we can't hold our tongue.
You know, sometimes I think we get really happy.
Is it excitement?
We get happy.
You get comfortable.
Yeah, and we get comfortable.
Normalizing that behavior.
But most of the time we get happy because we got somebody, whether it be man, woman, whatever. And we feel like we need to display him or her. You know, oh, I got a man. Oh, I got a woman. And then 6 months down the line,
she done went crazy. You done went crazy.
You came to the picnic in the beginning of the summer with one person. You come to the picnic at the end of the summer with another person. You know,
Right.
and that can be confusing to any child. And just like you said, how are we steering our children, not just in that relationship, but you name some other things. You know, how are we talking to our children? How are we setting up our children to actually accomplish stuff in their life? You know, in the past 2 years, my child is 40 something years old. But I look at other people that have to homeschool their children. And that's a difficult thing. These mothers laying on this couch wondering when this little so-and-so going to school. Because I'm used to being at home by myself. Well, that child don't need to hit. That child trying to still get an education. You know.
We become so maladaptive in our behaviors as relates to school. So COVID changed that, and it changed the whole behavior.
It changed the whole
and how
behavior.
your house is operated, and now your kids at home with you. The ones that you brought out of your belly is home with you all day long.
And see, that's everything that you have said, LaTondra. Man, these little children catching it.
And I just believe that you need to value your children. You know, I'm a single mother, but I remember in dating, you had to earn the right to be in Austin's company. You had to earn that right.
Absolutely.
And you wasn't coming to my house. No, you wasn't. When I was dating, I would meet you at the restaurant.
Right.
Because I let my household be our haven. Be
Right.
our refuge.
Right.
And a refuge meant that it wasn't just my refuge, but it was my son's refuge.
That's where he
And
stayed.
as a single mother, my
Right.
son didn't see no man coming out of my bedroom. He didn't see that. He didn't see no man going in the refrigerator and chilling and acting like he at home. He didn't see that. He did not, because in my mind I said also I had the responsibility of raising him as a man. As a man, and I hated, this uncle such and such and such. No, you don't have an uncle.
You don't have an uncle such and such.
You
Right.
have a brother such and such, or a Mr. such and such. But no, I remember one of my godchildren, and she grown now. She said, "Auntie, I was over to Uncle Dada Dada D's house." I said, "Who is Dada Dada D?" Oh. You never met my Uncle Dada Dada D? And I knew all of my best friends' relationships. I knew all of her brothers.
Right.
And I was like, she ain't got no brother by the name of Dada Dada D. And I knew her father's stuff. And I said, she don't have no brother by the name of Dada Dada D. But then, come to find out and listening to her, she said, I have a lot of uncles. I have Uncle George. I have Uncle Charles. I'm just naming some names. I have Uncle Malik. And I'm looking, and I said, oh, no. And I said because me and her are like sisters, I said, you need to make it where she treasures her true uncles.
Right. But see, that's the thing. You got all these uncles and you only child. But anyway.
Right.
So, LaTondra, I know you probably have some strategies and tools, because my mind was thinking like there are some good things you can do. Let's change those behaviors.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be somebody you land up with, but there are mentors out here that you can introduce your children into. So I don't know if you wanted to, if you had anything in that, man.
So as far as when we think about, so let's compare the bad debt part when you get into putting utilities and things in your children's names.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when we were growing up, my parents weren't aware of the process for setting me up for financial wealth.
Success, right.
And so as I gotten older, I realized that there were things that I could do, and I had surrounded myself by people who actually gave me this knowledge, and so it's my responsibility to share the knowledge with the younger generation. So, I encourage parents, when you have children at, regardless of what age, but when they're born, find a stock, invest in a stock for them to actually help set them up for financial wealth. Also, obtaining insurance plans to where they can pull money from the interest and actually go to college without them being in debt, purchase a house, a car. These are things that they can do now. And it takes less than $100, even $100. I'm quite sure with everything that we out here buying, from eyelashes, weed, and everything else, you can take a little bit of that money to invest in your child so that they're set up for financial wealth as when they get to that position, and they don't have to depend on taking out loans to create debt for them as they get older, for them to be able to be successful. Also exposing them to history. Our children have no knowledge of what went on in my life. They don't know the struggles, and a lot of times we want to keep the struggles away from them so they're not exposed to them. But that don't mean you can't tell them about the struggles that have gotten us to this way, and how they need to continue to pave the way for the next generation. So for them to understand the culture, understanding, every single aspect of being an adult. I expose my nephew and my nieces and even my cousins to a lot of things. When I say, I'm like, hey, it takes $50 to start a business. Even if you're not doing anything with it now, I want to set you up for success.
Right.
Because, once again, not everyone that's a parent actually knows how to the whole component of parents. So when you're a parent, you want to make sure that your child is successful. And if you can't do that, then you have mentors and people around that village. We continue to talk about the village that actually can help them to get to that point in that place in life. Not everyone is college material. So let's encourage our youth and our young men and women to do trades. There's so many skilled trades is big out there right now. And there are a lot of people out here who have 4 to 8 year degrees and still cannot get bounced back from this pandemic.
Right.
Because not everything has a degree attached to it.
It's amazing that you say that. Everybody isn't college bound. And it seemed like in my generation, as I was growing up, everybody was getting a Poo and Ray little baby who had a light bill or a gas bill. That's when the light bill was one bill and the gas bill was another bill. The phone bill was due, and little the Desiree had a light bill in her name, and she was only 3, and Ray had the gas bill and he was only 6. And then they don't know, when as they grow older, that this just messes up them. And to give education and that's one thing I was really kind of set on with Janoris and I call them my little nieces and nephews, my little nieces Erica and Chanel. We would go to the DIA. We would go to the Detroit Historical Museum. They were very enthused that there was an underground city in the Detroit Institute, not the Detroit Institute, but the Detroit Museum.
DIA?
Not the DIA. It's the one across the street.
Science Center? Detroit Science
No, it's
Center?
across the street on Woodward. I can't remember the name of it. I don't know why. It's right across the street.
Historical?
Detroit Historical Museum. You would get them every single time, and they grew up years straight going there. Then that was their favorite thing, to go to the underground city. And to get them to see different things, to go to the Charles H. Wright and to go through the slave ship exhibit,
Awesome.
and it scared them. But then when we come out on the other side, I'll never forget, they had questions about, is that what actually happened? A lot of people haven't even took their children to any of these museums, and all of them are donation free. All you got to do is give a donation. There's no set price to even go in these exhibits and these museums. Take them to the library.
Yes.
Let them explore books and get them from them games.
Yes.
It's hard to say what we can't do. It's easier to say what we can't do, but it's hard to say what we can do.
Absolutely.
For the sake of our children. Set up, like you say, different. Set up different, not trust funds, but accounts for them to learn how to save their money.
manage money, financial literacy, managing their money. Yep, I actually had my nephew. I'm like, oh, you need to open up a bank account. I told him to go open up a bank account. I even went to the degree of adding him to my credit card. Let me tell you, now most people will be skeptical about this, but I'm like, I'm helping him to build his credit because then he can't get it from anywhere else. When I tell you how responsible he's been with this, because I had a conversation with him before I gave it to him to tell him what the expectations were. I do not have to remind him when his bill is due. He sends the money on time. He's only 18. He sends the money, and then even before, he'll say, Auntie, I think the credit card bill is due. And he'll automatically sell me money to pay the bill. And, you know, the thing about it is not all children, and those are things I subject to him. He sees me pay bills. He sees me go to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he sees me doing things in a positive light. When I have conversations with him, I'm not hooping and hollering and cussing at him.
Right.
And then another thing that I don't do is I'm not comparing him to the other cousins that he has.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of kids, when you compare them to what other kids are doing or what other kids have, you know, that kind of shoots their self-esteem, because it's like, why you comparing me to them and I'm me? You know,
right.
I'm who I am. And, you know, I know for me growing up, I was compared to my older sister. You know, they would say things. And, of course, at some point, I became a little rebellious because I'm like, I'm who I am. I don't have to be like her. You know, and it created, you know, some hostility and kind of a bad environment for me, because I began to act out because I was like, you know, what about me? Pay attention to who I am. And so we want to make sure that we are laying the foundation correctly for our children. And even if you don't have children and you're an auntie, you still play a pivotal role in our kids' life. Your aunties, the grannies, you know, for the most part, some of the grannies, they're a little bit older, so they can't. So I definitely encourage, you know, our young men and women who have aunties, or, you know, they don't, continue to be a mentor, continue to be that village. You know, get involved in the community. Our children matter. We're not going to be here always, but even still, I want to make sure that our youth are taken care of and they have the right tools and resources that they need to be successful, because there'll be generations to follow them.
Right.
You know, so we definitely don't want to lead our children down a path of chaos and rumble. We want to actually help them to pave the way for future generations to come, so that they have something to look forward to.
Right. LaTondra, our time has been spent. I am so very sorry. We're going to have to bring you in on another Sunday so you can continue this. Evangelist Jackie Johnson did make a comment, said, so true. My son wasn't college material, and I sent him to trucking school, and we now have a trucking business, which they have a very lucrative trucking business, and doing very well. And she said, teach them about their credit. And see, I remember when me and Jackie was talking about, I call him JB, was talking about JB, and they have a very, very, very successful trucking company.
And that's a wonderful business to go into, because I have a coworker by the name of Paula Washington that at the same time she left Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and now her and her family they have a trucking company, and you have to think it must be lucrative in order for her to leave Blue Cross and Blue Shield to establish her own business.
And see,
she
that's
just bought a brand new truck.
I think Jackie and them have a fleet of 6 to 10 trucks. I mean the big trucks. So they're doing very well. My niece Erica, she started the insurance business, but now she's into undergarments, and she has 2 contracts with 2 doctors' office. You know. And she's, I think, now the #1 seller for I can't pronounce it, Fajas or something, that when the ladies have their surgeries and stuff, they need that foundation. She's the #1 seller for that. Wow. You know, so it's what LaTondra's saying is so, don't think it's a hard thing to do. If you start them on the right path, they can be successful in anything they want to do.
And I tell people, especially when you're dealing with companies that you've invested in, a lot of our people don't know that, like, for example, GM has what they call the World of Science, that they have every summer for young people to show them what it takes to build a car. They build a car by the clay, and they take them through the whole process.
Yeah.
And one girl, when I was at GM, she was only 19. She was so phenomenal as an artist that GM hired her while she was in college to be what they call a conceptual drawer. What does she see in the future?
Wow.
And guess what? Some of those drawings now, the things that she's seen in the future, they are now a part of some cars now. And so based on putting them in those particular items like the World of Science and Depth Set, you know, wonderful engineering program
Right.
that will enhance them. And even the Creative Studies College, they have awesome programs in the summer just for kids to tap into what is their niche, what is their passion. And so, and these, some of these are sponsored based. They just want the kids. Some of them are like the World of Science. It's no fee to be a part of the World of Science because they want to tap into the future engineers and the future designers. So they're willing to take the cost just to cultivate that particular kind of gift.
See, that's the thing. We have to, this is what LaTondra was saying. What are we doing, how are we setting up our children for failure or success? So hopefully with this being said today and the things that LaTondra has listed, even from the failures to the things that we can do for success for our children, we have to put these things into mind, you know, and get started with the children that we have. But LaTondra, we want to thank you for coming on. We're going to have, you know, we're going to get these glitches out and we're going to have a whole hour for you to talk one day. But we thank you for your time. We really, really do. And we look forward to, we're going to get you on maybe before the third Sunday on next month and you know, let you come back and give us some highlights on some of the things that you've talked about. But we thank you for giving us your time this morning on this Sunday. And we look forward to talking to you, girl.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
All righty. So for everybody, we will now be on, I guess, Glenn Cannon's YouTube page. So I'll make sure I put out a notification on Facebook and tell everybody else that I know. So yeah, and everybody just spread the word. We're so happy to have on our line Evangelist Jackie Johnson. I don't know if she's preaching this morning or not, but she gonna be at Second Sweet Home. And we always so happy to have Miss Helen Gates with us. So as we sign off, and we just want to thank Tenna and our producer, April, for coming in this morning, the sunshine. Hey, get out there and enjoy it. It's cold, but still enjoy the sun, I guess. I don't know.
And don't forget next week, Empower Sunday is taking a day off next week to celebrate the Lifetime Achievement Award for our CEO.
Yes.
Mr. Glenn Cannon.
Cannon, yes.
And so, but the week after we will begin again.
Okay,
Begin
so
again.
In the Office with G won't be here next Sunday, but y'all just, you know, we want to say congratulations also to Glenn Cannon. Yeah, because he's getting April said he's getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, and we're so very proud to be a part of his they say Grown Folks?
Yes.
Grown Folks Nation with Glenn Cannon. So we're so very proud of him, and we just want to say congratulations.
And then we are endeavoring to put the enemy to flight in regards to this YouTube situation. And so we're asking people to check out, because Mr. Cannon pays for this wonderful subscription called Mixcloud.
Okay.
Mixcloud. It's a free application because the subscription is based on the stations.
Okay.
We pay the subscriptions
Okay.
instead of the regular person pay the subscriptions.
Okay.
And we're venturing off into it because Mixcloud allows us to play our music how we want it, when we want it, where we want it. And they're not censoring us because we're of a faith base.
Oh.
And so we're asking people to check out Mixcloud, wherein the live show is there for you every Sunday. And then also they archive an audio version of it after that you can be in your car or wherever and you can hear it. And so we're promoting that hopefully to be able to now come against the censorship of our faith.
Okay.
That is plaguing us on the YouTube.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that information. So Mixcloud.
Mixcloud.
So just go to Google.
Or go to your phone, go to your whatever computer, and type in Mixcloud. And we are Vent Radio 313. Vent Radio 313.
Mixcloud.
And we've been a part of it because if the ladies see that I tap in to make sure that we are tuned into it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's an internationally based application. So you're going to see people from all over the world that is on this Mixcloud where you can peruse.
Okay.
through
Well, when
several
we
shows
come
and
back,
stuff.
we're going to start off my show with our producer April saying more about this.
Mixcloud.
Mixclouds, because we want everybody to be a part of this. Okay?
Yes, and we don't want to be censored based on our faith, based on our belief, and based on the music that we play.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, everybody, we will be here not next week, but week after next, and we thank you for joining us today. And as always, have a wonderful week and a great week, and we'll see you right back here in the office with G. See y'all later.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. I hope you had an awesome time. Come back every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on ventradio.net. If you would like to support the show, be a guest, advertiser, or sponsor, just email me at janoris.charles@yahoo.com. You can also cash at me at $Miss Granberg or call the station at area code 404-594-4772. Share the show and send your friends to the office with Miss G. See you next time.